Okay, so a lot of people have questioned our pricing of real estate in Ghana, and there's been a lot of comparison between real estate in Ghana versus abroad, and then maybe real estate in Accra versus Volta region, and why real estate is so attractive that people want to invest into it, and how come it's so difficult for other people to join. So I want to just do a quick exposure on it because people, when I have conversations, they ask me to film it, but I usually think I'm not like an authority in this space yet. Maybe when I grow and I become a millionaire through real estate, I can teach this. But let me just say it so that the people who need to hear it can hear it, and the people who know more about it can clarify it for us in the comments. I learn more in the comments. So there is an issue happening right now. People say Accra is overpriced, and I tell them that that is a good problem to have because Accra is not competing with who? Accra is competing with Texas. No, even Texas is cheap. New York. So Accra should have prices as high as it is in New York. Don't ask me, oh, by New York and all the dynamics that people say. Fine, those are personal reservations. But what happened is this. There is someone who lives in New York that wants to live in Accra under some certain conditions, who wants to build a high rise, who wants to invest some kind of money and gain some kind of returns. That person should not be shortchanged, literally. That's what happens in real estate. So for every rent that is high, there's an investor and landlord that is happy to invest. And then there is a tenant that is losing his accommodation literally. That person will not be happy, but this is good for the economy because now there is more capital being injected into the economy. So you will hear issues like, this is price for foreigners, this is price for tourists. It's a good thing because if you don't do that, you can't get that kind of foreign exchange that actually strengthens your currency. You cannot give that kind of service that travelers want. People want 5-star services. You cannot charge $100 per night for a 5-star hotel. It's about $250 and more. Okay, if you think otherwise, I know people will say, oh, Paloma takes $100 in some funny country. That is not Ghana. Okay, so let me just show you quickly. Real estate in Ghana. Okay. So in Ghana, obviously Accra is the most expensive place. In Accra, there is something we call ROI. Okay. ROI is, let's say 10 years. Okay. There are a few places that have ROI. ROI is return on investment. Literally, if you buy a $100,000 house, you should get $100,000 back in 10 years in rent. So if you want to simplify the math, that means you should get $10,000 a year and you should get $900 or $800 a month. Okay, so if you get a $100,000 house and you can get $1,000 a month as rent, that means your ROI is becoming longer, which is not good for you. There are a few places in the world that you can get it sooner. In Accra, not just Accra, in cantonments in East Legon is 10 years. When you get out of cantonments, the windows, when you go to Tema, Dodowa, Pram, Pokwasi and the like, it's about 20 years, which is not a good investment. Okay, so out of Accra, it's equal to 20 years. Now, what happens is this. Someone who has $100,000 invests in a small unit, studio apartment, okay? Studio apartment. And then he gets his $100,000 in 10 years. Then the person who is smarter, not because they are smart, but because they are broke, who has $50,000, would go and invest at Pokwasi, 3-bedroom house. Okay, then he gets his money back in 20 years. You know why? 3-bedroom house at Pokwasi, you still spend $50,000. That's now 600,000 Ghana cedis. Okay, 600k cedis. So you are happy you spent less. Then the rent in Pokwasi, I doubt is more than 3,000 cedis. So if you pay 3,000 cedis in a year, you would have paid how much? 36,000. 6k a year. Okay. So in 18 years, before he gets his money back, this is even on the CD. If it's on the dollar, it will take him a little more time. So you realize that the rich are becoming richer at a faster rate, and then someone who has $50,000 is not poor, but he's just a smart broke man. is becoming rich at a slower rate. So the deal in real estate is how fast you can make your money back. I spoke to a Nigerian man, I was pitching to him, and he said that is not a business if he makes his money back in 10 years, because 10 years is too long a time to make your money back if you are a business person. Business people make their money back every 2 to 5 years. A good business will do 2 to 3 years. A big business will do at least 5 years. Okay, bigger businesses can't make their money back too fast. So if you do that, then it brings us to the fact that real estate cannot be your first investment, because even 10 years, which you can't afford because you don't have $100,000, okay, is not a good business. So we tell people, if you're an employee, fantastic, go to school, get a better job, save some money, and pave your way into this. But if there is not too much opportunity to grow up the employee skill, and you have the guts and the strength and a little bit of funding, you try a business, entrepreneur, you double your money faster, you do agri, you double your money faster, not too much security, but faster. Then you can now come in here securely, passively, double your money every 10 years. But in a business, you need to pay attention to, you need to be on the ground, so you need to be there. If you are not there, you cannot make the money. You get it? So that's the dynamics about it. We need to look at it and have a fair balance. Otherwise, it becomes very, very difficult to manage. I wish this video will not become too long, and I would like to observe and see the comments so that I'll clarify this very more. There's a whole 30 slides presentation that I've done on this, and it can get really complicated, but I hope this is clear. So for this reason, Accra needs to get a little bit more expensive than what it is right now in terms of rent, so that it becomes more investor interesting or investor attractive. Okay, and then a few other places that are lingering around 20 years need to get more, which Ghanaians don't like, which is okay. Ghanaians need to earn more money so that they can afford the kind of places we like to live. Because the problem is that Ghanaians like to live in sweet places and pay less, which is not very possible. You can get that in Tamale, in Ho, in Cape Coast, but in Accra, it has to compete with New York. Hey, looks like I'm shaking some hard tables. Please, let's stop this video here. Is it a good video?